Pesticides were originally created to help manage pests such as harmful insects, rodents, and weeds. Pesticides are chemicals that may be used to kill fungus, bacteria, insects, plant diseases, snails, slugs, or weeds, among others. Insecticides, such as snail bait, wasp killer, or ant killer, are types of pesticides that is used to specifically target and kill insects. Herbicides are used to kill undesirable plants or weeds. Some herbicides will kill all the plants they touch, while others are designed to target one species. Today, pesticides are used by thousands of individuals around the world. Farmers, in particular, spend billions of dollars each year purchasing herbicides, pesticides, insecticides, and other chemicals.
Pesticides. Pesticides have been around for thousands of years. Sulfur was one of the first used by Chinese around 1000 BC in order to control bacteria and mold. Sulfur is still commonly used chemical today. Pesticides began to really emerge after World War II with the introduction of pesticides such as DDT, BHC, aldrin, dieldrin, endrin, and 2,4-D. In the United States, pesticides are used on about 900,000 farms and in 70 million households. Without pesticides, United States food production would drop and food prices would soar. With the lower production and higher prices, our United States farmers would be less competitive in global markets for major grains, cotton, and peanuts. United States exports of corn, wheat, and soybeans would drop 27% with the loss of 132,000 jobs. Pesticides not only protect our agriculture, but our pets and our homes as well. Many tick and insect-borne diseases such as yellow fever, encephalitis, typhoid fever, malaria, dog heartworms, and Rocky Mountain spotted fever are held in check by our insecticides. By controlling fleas, cockroaches, and flies, insecticides improve the sanitation and comfort of our homes. Due to the fact that pesticides are designed to be toxic to living things, precautions must be taken before their use. In the United States, the Environmental Protection Agency, or otherwise the EPA, regulates all pesticides. The agency requires several scientific tests, not only for every pesticide, but also for every use of every pesticide.
Herbicides are widely used in agriculture and in landscape turf management. They were first developed after World War II in order to increase food production and create possible warfare agents. Today, the average U.S. farmer can spend anywhere from $35 to $100 per acre on herbicides in order to control the weeds in their fields. Last year, agricultural technology leader Monsanto made nearly $4.76 billion in sales and $1.9 billion in gross profits from herbicide products, mostly Roundup. Despite the widespread application of pesticides in the United States at recommended dosages, pests such as insects, plant pathogens, and weeds destroy 37% of all potential crops. Insects destroy 13%, plant pathogens destroy 12%, and weeds also destroy 12%. In general, each dollar invested in pesticide control returns about $4 in protected crops. Examples of commonly used herbicides include Liberty, Harness, and Prefix. Why are herbicides and pesticides important in your farming operation?
If you didn't have herbicides, we couldn't grow crops. We already have weeds that's herbicide resistant. And if you didn't have pesticides, you couldn't grow crops because they'd eat them up. They'd eat the pods, they'd eat the leaves. This year we had bean leaf beetles bad. We had to spray because of the bean leaf beetles.
These are foliage eater insects.
What kind of plant is this?
This is a soybean plant.
That was done by loopers and bean leaf beetles.
Every little bit, if you can see the holes in the plant, every bit that's eaten out takes away from your photosynthesis process that adds to your yield of your crop. So you're trying to keep that away by using pesticides, insecticides, and herbicides.
What type of herbicides and pesticides do you use, and how do you apply them to your crops?
Most of the time, I use Scout from a herbicide fertilizer company, and whatever he recommends, that's what we do. We use the airplane when it's too wet. And when it's not too wet, we use our spray.
As far as the drifting with the airplane, the reason we don't spray with herbicides is we say this is a ditch and this is another farmer that has non-Roundup ready crops, and this is our farm that has Roundup ready crops. If you were to spray this side and the chemical drifts over on the heads, it's going to kill it, and then that will cause problems and maybe an investigation where you could get fined for not controlling your herbicide.
What do you mean when you say Roundup ready crops?
As a certain chemical that has a mode of action to kill the plant. It will not kill your crop, but it'll kill plants that doesn't have that same genetic makeup. I'm here at Stevenson Farms here in Elizabeth City. I graduated from NC State in 2014 with field crop technology degree. I'm here to tell you about this swoop net. What this purpose is to scout soybeans is what we use it for. And we go in about knee-high tall crops and actually swoop it 13 times like this into the canopy of the crop. When you take it and dump out and find out what insects are actually in your crop. And then that's when we talk to our local agronomists and find out what we need to spray and what kind of mode of action we need to go as far as getting rid of that pest that's unwanted in the crop. Follow me, I'm going to take it towards the sprayer. This is my John Deere 4720 self-propelled sprayer. This is what we spray our herbicides, insecticides, and pesticides with. Pretty much this is my field office. I've got my book here. It's got all my rates for chemicals, my calculator, pen. Pretty much when we get spraying, this is where we stay. Coming over here to my equipment, if you can see, this is my auto steer, and this is my screen that shows me. This keeps from being overlapping, which is if I'm spraying a streak, when I spray back, my nozzle's cut off so you don't overspray, because if you overspray it can cause harm or damage to the plant. Overspraying can also cost you money in the long run because you're overusing chemicals that's not needed. This screen here, if you can see it, shows me how fast I'm going, my pressure, and my rate, which is the gallons per acre, in which we look at. Here's your 3 different rates, and that shows you how much more chemicals is mixed up in my tank, which is right here behind me. All chemicals stores in that tank, and this sprayer has the ability of spraying 90-foot wide swath at about 16 to 18 miles per hour, which you can cover quite many acres in an hour. Here's all my hydraulic controls, everything that I run, my gears. I adjust my booms to avoid drifting. Follow us and go into the chemical room. Here's our bulk shuttles. We buy most of our chemicals in bulk and then reduce it down to small handleable jugs. Let's get out of the rain and get inside this building here. This building here is where we keep all of our chemicals. All of our records are kept inside the office, documented. All of our chemicals are here on the shelves, like fungicide, insecticide, another fungicide, and this is a prefix herbicide, which is one of our main herbicides. And this shuttle right here is Roundup. Liberty is another special chemical we spray. It's a herbicide, which is almost like Roundup, which is the crop that's genetically modified to only be acceptable to Liberty Chemicals. Right here is a cultivator, which was the old-timey herbicide. It was mechanical driven instead of chemically driven. What happens is everything back in the day was grown on rows. We were set up on 40-inch rows before we went to 40 or 20-inch flat ground planting. What it does is these tines right here pick. What it does is your weed would be in the ground, and as this tine spins, which is ground driven, it actually picks the weed up out of the ground, and then this sweep right here kicks the dirt back up on the road, which it also eliminated pests too, as it was eliminating weeds. This is the special sprayer that we only spray wheat with. Is when during the winter time, when the most times gets wet, our ground rig's too heavy to hold up on top of the ground, so we use this smaller rig. It's got a 250-gallon tank, and you can spray about 2 or 3 acres at a time with it. It's pulled by a small side-by-side UTV. We've got a Rhino side-by-side.
This clip of a soybean field is an accurate representation of a field that was sprayed with herbicides versus a field that was not sprayed with herbicides. Although the field on the left was planted earlier than the field on the right, the left field lacks weeds while the field on the right is full of weeds. Herbicides and pesticides are very important in maintaining a field full of healthy crops. For more information, the local Wake County Cooperative Extension Office will be holding an informative meeting on the usage of herbicides and pesticides. The meeting will take place on Thursday, October 22nd at 6 o'clock p.m. If you have any questions, please feel free to call the Extension Office at 919-346-9854.